Hey everybody, it's Lori with the Pocowatchit podcast, and tonight, episode 31, Rod Pocowatchit. He's an actor, he's a director, he's a kind of an everything creative when it comes to film, short film, comedy, horror, awesome. Check him out, look him up on YouTube, and check out some of his films. They're awesome. I've wanted to meet Rod for a long time. I've been asking him to be on the podcast, and he finally agreed. So I appreciate him coming on down, and we keep our socially distant, and we keep it safe. And thank you for coming. And also stick around to the end of the podcast, and I'm gonna get political, guys. So if you want to hear that, it's at the end. I don't want to get our brains going that direction yet. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you, and I'll talk to you at the end of this. Here's Rod Pocowatchit. I'm here with Rod Pocowatchit, and he is a film director, producer, writer. You do it all.
Yeah.
And you've been doing it for some time now.
Yeah, probably a good 15, 20 years.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for coming out to the Park City area.
Nice. It was a nice drive.
Yeah, it is a little drive. It's not too bad.
Nah.
So what we do on the Pocowatchit podcast, or what I do, is I start with your life, and we just talk about you were born here in Wichita, or were you born somewhere else?
No, I was born here in Wichita. My family is from Oklahoma. All of my tribes are based in Oklahoma.
Okay.
I'm Pawnee and Shawnee and Comanche.
Okay.
But I was born here, yeah.
Okay, so when you say your tribes, then you weren't just born into one tribe, you were born into three?
Yeah. My mom is half Pawnee. Her mother was Pawnee, and her father was Shawnee.
Okay.
And then my father was full-blood Comanche.
Oh, okay.
So it all sort of breaks down, and
Sure.
the lineage just continues down.
But you're a full 100% full-blooded Native American.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Have you done the Ancestry and all that?
You know, I just ordered Ancestry.
You did?
Because it's on sale on Amazon. Little plug there. Not that I get any of it, but yeah. So a friend of mine, because I had mentioned that a friend of mine did that. I mentioned that sounds cool and interesting, and she sent me a text the other day saying, "Hey, it's on sale right now." So I actually just ordered that, so I should get it in the next few days.
That's really gonna be fun.
Yeah,
because then you get to wait in anticipation.
Yeah,
I did it, and it was great.
Oh,
and
cool.
Really, every story that I heard came out to be true.
Oh, awesome!
Know?
Yeah,
so it was really wild that verified it all.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I'll go back. I didn't do the health one because I wasn't sure how I felt about that. Because, do I really want to know that Alzheimer's, later?
Right. Yeah.
do I just want to be, free of that?
All right. Yeah. I don't know if I did the health one or not. I don't know. But
okay.
Yeah.
Well, so, you were born there in Oklahoma, or you were born here in Wichita?
I was born here in Wichita. Yeah, my family is from Oklahoma.
Okay, what part of Oklahoma?
My mom is from Pawnee, which is kind of near Tulsa, kind of. Okay. And my dad is from Lawton, which is way down south. Okay. Almost to Texas.
So it wasn't just like, what's it called, Ponca City or something?
Oh, yeah, no, not quite.
So, living in Wichita, did you go to school here all your life?
Yeah. Well, I went to Southeast High School, graduated from there, and then I went to K-State.
Okay.
And then I started out in architecture,
Okay.
which was a really bad idea.
Really.
I'm not good with numbers or anything,
wow,
so
right.
structure is kind of important in architecture.
Big time.
So so I switched to art and got a graphic design degree, and then I started working for the Wichita Eagle
Okay.
as an illustrator and designer, graphic artist. And then that moved into becoming more of a page designer.
Okay.
And then I was the features art director for a while. And then I started writing along on the side. I covered music for a while. And then I started, when our movie critic left, I started writing about movies. So I
Okay.
had a weekly film column called Movie Maniac.
Okay.
And I've been doing that for about the past 12, 13 years.
Are you still doing it?
I am doing it freelance. I left the Eagle in January,
Right.
but now I'm doing freelance work for them. So I'm still writing the column. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's kind of neat. A lot of people I know, like Richard Carlson and Bud Norman and things like that, they all worked for the Eagle. And then the way of the internet came and kind of blew everyone.
Yeah, really radically changed
Yeah.
the face. I mean, what journalism is,
Really did.
so it really did, and it's still changing.
Yeah.
I mean,
It is.
It's still evolving.
Yeah, and we're starting to see some of the effects of COVID and that kind of thing.
Sure, absolutely.
Right
yeah,
now.
It's been a crazy year.
Because you really need the news, but then if it's not written well, if it's not produced well, if it doesn't catch your eye or isn't easy somehow, then you'll lose people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, you kind of come up through all that. When did you what was the big aha moment that happened to you that made you go, I need to make films?
Well, I've always had a huge theater background. I was in theater in junior high and all through high school. I was heavily immersed in it. I was the president of our thespian group,
Okay.
So yeah, I was really heavy into theater. At Southeast, yeah. And then in college at K-State, I basically had a minor in music theater, but unofficially. I mean, I had enough hours I could have gotten a minor, but I didn't.
Right.
So I just always was involved in theater.
At K-State, you performed?
Yeah, I was in some plays. Was trained as an actor. So I was always emerged in theater and loved movies ever since I was a kid. I mean, my mom saw that I had this like obsession with movies and made sure that I got to see movies, and she took me to see movies just a lot. I have vivid memories of that. So yeah, that was really cool. About the time I was at the Eagle, I wasn't getting bored really, but I was just kind of like, well, I wonder, creatively, I need to do something. So I thought about quitting my job and going to film school, or spending all that money and sort of diving in and just figuring it out myself. And that's kind of how I've always done things anyways, just jump in and get dirty and figure it out. So I decided to do that, and I decided to write a script. Like I said, I started writing for the Eagle, and I've always written like short stories on my own and everything, but I've never written a script.
Right.
So I did a lot of studying and reading on my own. Robert Rodriguez's book Rebel Without a Crew was a huge inspiration for me, still is.
Okay.
And in the book he says, just don't talk about it, just do it. You're going to make mistakes. It's going to be maybe terrible, but don't be scared of that. That's how you're going to learn. So I did. So all the studying I did, I mean, the screenwriting mantra, is write what you know. Right. So I grew up immersed in my culture, in my Native American beliefs and customs, and grew up literally dancing since I could walk, going to powwows, traveling to different powwows around across the country. And those were always kind of little adventures unto themselves. Each trip was a little adventure. Sure. You'd run out of gas, or something unexpected would happen. So I decided to set my first film in that powwow world.
Okay.
And it's about three guys who are more like they're basically like brothers who break down on the way to a powwow, and then so they sort of they have a physical journey, but sort of a spiritual one. They each overcome an obstacle, in their lives or in them. So that's what that first script became. It was called Dancing on the Moon. And
I think I saw some parts of it.
Okay, yeah, I eventually made it into a film, but so at about this time in maybe 1989, 90, 2000, maybe around 2000.
Okay. That's when you're writing?
Yeah, I was working on the script.
Starting?
Yeah, I was working on the script and discovered this workshop at the Sundance Film Institute called the Native Screenwriters Workshop. So thinking nothing of it, it was like a day before the deadline I found out about it. So I overnighted my script. And then a couple months later, found out that I was chosen for this workshop. Yeah,
awesome.
Me and 6 writers. Yeah, so they flew us out to LA. It was in conjunction with UCLA Film Studies, and we workshopped our scripts with a professional screenwriter and
cool.
a mentor, and yeah. So after that, I mean, it was a week-long experience. Met some great people. Life-changing experience, actually.
Right.
So after that, I kept sending Sundance my rewrites. They said, keep in touch. We'll work with you and everything.
Sure.
So based on those rewrites, I got into the main screenwriting lab that happens during the festival, and that was mind-boggling. I mean, people kill to get into this, get into this lab, and now here I am with my first script. Completely just a total newbie.
Right.
So I was just sort of thrown into this film world that I just knew nothing about, and was sort of enamored and starstruck a little bit with all these people that have been working in the industry for so long.
Did you know any of them?
No.
Like, was it just kind of these well-known people that you didn't even know?
I knew some of them.
Yeah.
I knew about some of them. I didn't know any of the other fellows, but I knew some of the advisors.
Okay.
So I think it was a 4-day lab, and we had 2 screenwriters each day that would totally, it was a lot of soul searching and a lot of digging in and really knowing your characters and really exploring your story. And 2 of my screenwriting mentors were Oscar nominees.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, it's just crazy to think that it's not that far away. You know what I mean?
It's right there.
It's right there. Yeah. I was like, wow, this is real. So after that experience, again, that was another life-changing experience. I mean, I had met people at Sundance, met some actresses, cinematographer. I decided to make my film. I thought it wasn't going to get done unless I did it, and I wanted to direct. I wasn't sure if I could, but I wanted to. So I hired a bunch of people, brought them all out to Wichita, and we were going to shoot it in Council Grove on my friend's farm. And it was a terrible, terrible mistake. It was a lot to take in at once.
Just because it was so much?
So much, yeah. The dynamic wasn't working. My actress was becoming a prima donna. I had a newbie actor, saw her doing that, and he thought that was cool, so he started being difficult. Yeah,
sure.
So it was just a lot, and I basically just called it and said, okay, you're all fired.
Yeah.
I sent everyone back to where they went, put everybody on a plane, and then went back out to Council Grove and just kind of like, because my family was going to camp there, for the whole 2 weeks that we were going to shoot, and so we were already there.
Right.
So I drove back to Council Grove and just hung out with them and sort of like mourned the passing of my filming, because that was a huge chunk of me that was, it was devastating.
Right.
So I left it alone for a few months, well, a long month, almost a year, and then decided to try again.
Sure.
Did some more rewrites, made it a little more simpler. Sort of got back to, because the story kind of got not out of control, but it wasn't the sweet little simple story that I'd wanted to tell in the beginning.
Right.
So it kind of backed up a little bit and recast it with friends and family and local crew, and we went out to Council Grove and shot it in a week, I think. And then that became Dancing on the Moon. That became my first film.
Oh, okay.
It's very rough. But it's my first film. It's supposed to be,
Right.
It was I say it was my film school of hard knocks. I
Sure.
kind of had to jump in and figure it out.
And like everything you totally did that just as school should be, which is you fail,
yes.
you learn from your mistakes, you pick yourself back up, and
Absolutely.
if it's really something you need, you'll keep going, And
Yeah. I mean, I've totally thought about just forgetting, just blowing it off and just forgetting about it. But I was like, no, this is something I really want to do, and I don't give up. I mean, I stick with something. So it felt really good to see that through. And then it was all, I acted in it, directed, I wrote the script, I edited it. So there was all a bunch of new stuff. I mean, I've done some short films, but nothing of that scope.
Yeah.
So that first, and then once we got it done, I thought, okay, we're done. Now, no, there's like a whole promotional side of it that I had no experience at all. I mean, that is an animal unto itself. That's a job unto itself. So I had,
and certain people are good at that.
Yeah.
And certain people aren't. I'm not really great at promotion.
Yeah, I'm
either.
a lot better than I was, that's for sure. But at the very beginning, I was like, oh, wow, okay, so, like submitting to film festivals and all that stuff. I mean, it was all new to me, so I had to figure all that stuff out too. And then, we kind of didn't really get into anything for a while. Kind of, it's a business that's built on rejection. It's just you get rejection. You just got to have a thick skin, and I was new at that, so that was really hurting.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, because I invested.
I don't like it either.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, nobody likes rejection, but I mean, I had just spent maybe $16,000 making this film, and then just trying to get it out there
and thinking everyone's going to love this.
Yeah,
and they didn't love
yeah,
this.
right. Yeah, and
whatever.
then hitting roadblock.
I feel like that about this podcast a lot of times.
Oh, yeah,
like,
I'm
this
sure.
This is the best thing I've ever heard.
No.
And then I just kind of get like, oh, that was good.
Yeah. No. Right. Yeah. No. Absolutely. I completely understand. But but yeah. So it was about a year of submitting to film festivals, not really getting anywhere, and then we got into the American Indian Film Festival in San Francisco.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, which was cool. I mean, that was just sort of an awakening, and we had a really good response. I call them the Indian Oscars. It's like they have a big, huge award show, and it's kind of regarded as the Indian Oscars, kind of. And I was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, which was amazing. Yeah, and then didn't win that, but I did win a special jury award for like promising newcomer, which was mind blowing. Yeah, I was like, wow, this is crazy. And then right after I said my speech, a casting agent came up and talked to me, gave me her card, and so from there, just sort of networking just kind of blew up and. We had a great screening from there. At the screening, somebody from the Smithsonian Indian Museum in D.C. wanted to have it in their screening series the next weekend. So so I flew to D.C. after that. I mean, it just really just took off from there.
Wow.
And we had a nice, like, maybe a good year run of film festivals after that. And then
cool. And that was with the
that was with Dancing on the Moon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So then after that.
So this is when, like,
this
2000...
was 2003,
okay,
4, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So after that, I decided to make another film. I made some short films in the middle there, but I decided to make another feature, and that one was called Sleep Dancer, and that was based on my very first short film that I made, and it's about this man who has suffered some sort of trauma in his life that he doesn't speak. And the only time...
I saw this one.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, the only time he finds peace is when he's dancing in his sleep, and it's called Sleep Dancer.
Right.
Yeah, so it's about this man who discovers him and tries to unravel the mystery of why he is like he is. So that... We made that film, again, just all local cast and crew.
Here in Wichita?
Yeah, here in Wichita. Shot it mostly at my friend's apartment. Very, very low budget. But yeah, we made that, and we had another nice little festival run. It didn't take off like the first one did.
Right.
But I knew more about promotion. I knew more about all that stuff. We were nominated for the Indian Oscars again. We're Best Picture, Best Director, things like that.
Cool.
So yeah, that was awesome. So after that experience, I made some more short films, and then decided to in 1 year I decided to make 10 short films. That was my goal.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was
crazy.
It was crazy. It was pretty ambitious.
And short films are classified as something that's 30 to 10 minutes.
2 to 45 minutes. 2 to 30 minutes would be a
okay.
short film. Yeah, anywhere in that range. And we made some that were maybe 5 to 20.
Okay.
But the cool thing about that experiment was it made us much more honed at the technique,
It pushed you.
Yeah, everybody kind of had a job and they just got really good at it. I've through all of these films, I've sort of gathered this film-loving group of crazy people as my crew that just are willing to jump off a bridge with me, and so and everyone has just become really good at what they do. I mean, everybody multitasks like crazy, but everybody sort of has a concentration
because they're acting usually.
Yeah, they're acting,
but they're
or
also
like
mixing the sound.
Yeah, or my makeup person Megan Baway is also my production designer, and everybody just sort of does multiple things.
That's really cool. Little family of
absolutely,
crew.
Absolutely, yeah, and we all just sort of dig in the trenches and work together. And I mean, filmmaking is really a team sport. I mean, it's really you can't do it on your own. Yeah, it really you gotta have creative people around you. So I really try to surround myself with good, creative, energized people. But so we had that goal of making 10 short films in a year, and actually we made 9. And then I did a blooper reel and counted that as the 10th.
Okay.
So
everybody does that. Everybody does that.
Yeah,
or some kind of homage to something.
Yeah. And we made some actually pretty good films during that time period. One of them is my favorite. It's called The Girlfriend, and we shot it totally improv. In sequence, and it's just
really
it's one of my
sequence.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite short films.
Crazy.
I came up with the idea for the story as I was going to pick up the prop. It's about this man who's in love with the mannequin head. He thinks it's his girlfriend. Yeah. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It gets kind of dark. It's a comedy.
Where can you get that?
It's online. It's on my YouTube channel.
Okay, and that's what?
YouTube / I think it's just Roderick Pocowatchit.
Roderick Pocowatchit.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you just search for my last name, it pops up. It's Pocowatchit.
You have like a crew of, oh man, what was it called? Your production company?
Oh, Rodzilla.
Yeah,
RAWD Zilla, ZILLA.com.
Excellent.
Everything's linked from my website, rodzilla.com too. So
okay.
Yeah. So yeah. After that year of 10 short films, decided to make another feature. And what I always do is kind of like I'll be inspired by something or see something, and it's like, how can I put my own like Native American spin on that or something? And
sure.
I love zombie films. I love and Shaun of the Dead is like my favorite zombie film of all time.
Film.
So it's like I want to do that. I want to make a native Shaun of the Dead. So I wrote a script. It's called The Dead Can't Dance. Mm-hmm. And the twist is that a virus breaks out and turns everyone into zombies except all the Native Americans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're the heroes.
I remember seeing this. I did. Yeah, this is good.
Yeah, they're the heroes. So we made that again, all mostly in Wichita. I mean, it takes place in the middle of nowhere, so we kind of had to stage it so it looked like it was in the middle of nowhere, but we used like
here where I live.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we had to do yeah, just off camera is like a row of houses, but we're showing just the field,
right.
Stuff like that. And
exactly.
We shot at Oaklawn Elementary, and they have a big field out back, and
sure.
so we all local cast and crew. We used 150 extras, zombie extras, probably.
Oh, cool.
It was really great. Everybody just really lobbied and wanted to get involved, and it was really an amazing experience. We shot for 2 weeks. It was also some of it was set in a school, and the cool thing about zombie films is you can have like some social commentary about it. So I kind of wanted to talk about bigger picture things about how white settlers did bring disease. They did wipe out Native people. I mean, so I thought, well, what would reverse that? Like a zombie virus that wipes them out. So yeah, so I wanted to say some bigger picture things, and like one of the settings was a school, and I wanted to sort of talk about how history wasn't quite taught right in school. I mean, so there's a lot of underlying social commentary within the story.
Like that.
So yeah, thanks.
That's
so
really.
We had to find a school that would let us shoot, and every time I try to talk to the Wichita Public Schools, as soon as I mention zombie, they shut the doors. So we actually made a contact through Tallgrass, and we shot at the Independent School in Wichita, and they were great. They just let us be there.
Be zombies.
Yeah. So we shot there for a good, I think.
I like that school.
Yeah, it was really cool. I think we shot there for 14 days straight, and that was the very beginning of the shoot. And then we had to move on. When I can get everybody, scheduling is always a nightmare. Right. When I could get everybody together, we shot the whole thing over the course of 4 months.
So that was during school, huh? Or was it like in the summer?
We shot in the summer.
Okay.
Yeah, at the school we shot in the summer.
That's a plus.
Yeah. And then we shot that over the course of 4 months, and then this was 2009. Yeah, 2009, because we premiered it in 2010 at the Orpheum, and had a great screening, had a great premiere. Yeah, and then again went to the American Indian Film Festival. I got involved. That's about the time I got involved with this group called LA Skins Fest. It's another film festival in Los Angeles, and they do a lot of. They do more than just film. They have a music festival. Now they've really grown to have. They have a directing fellowship. I was chosen for their directing fellowship at CBS.
Cool.
So yeah. So I mean, they've really branched out to they do a pitch workshop. They do acting workshops. So they've really branched out and just become this amazing resource for Native American artists and musicians and filmmakers. I mean, they really do a lot of
And
good.
that's out of L.A.?
L.A., yeah.
Oh,
L.A.,
that's neat.
L.A. Skins Fest, yeah. So I've really gotten to grow into having a really great relationship with them. So they've showed several of my films. Like I said, I was involved in their workshop, the directing fellowship. And after The Dead Can't Dance, we had a great festival run. Now it's on Amazon Prime. You can
cool.
find it on
Yeah.
Prime.
Get
It's
it on
also
Prime.
it's can also just order it on Amazon. But through LA Skins, we had some distribution opportunities. It was broadcast on TV. I forget what channel.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, so that was fun. Yeah. And then after that, I made some more short films. We had some nice festival runs, and then last year I made a short film called The Incredible Brown Indian, and it's
And
like
that's
it's
in
the letters, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's based on a comic book concept that my brother drew when we were kids.
Okay, well.
And so I came up with the story. I was like, oh, well, I remember that. And I wanted to do a comedy. I've never done just a straight out, full blown comedy.
Yeah.
So this is about just an ordinary guy, native guy, who decides to become the world's first Native American superhero.
Okay.
So yeah,
What happens to... Well, I don't...
Oh, right, yeah. Well, he just decides to become a superhero just out of
No
nowhere.
spoilers,
He has
okay.
no superpowers. He just decides to become one. He thinks putting on a cape is going to make him a
Okay.
superhero.
Well, that's true, isn't it?
But so my excellent production designer, Megan Baway, designed this incredible superhero costume for him. So it's just great. I mean, we just had a lot of fun shooting
and
it.
you're the...
I'm the guy. I'm the superhero.
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm Joe, the superhero.
Joe.
And I cast. I've gotten to have some really great actors working with me. Sean Jessel is from Wichita. He plays my sidekick.
Okay.
Sam Shea plays the villain. We stop him from robbing a bar. And just
All
had
right.
a really great shoot.
And it's a comedy, so
It's a
there's
comedy.
lighthearted stuff.
Yeah, lighthearted stuff. But I also, again, said some things with it, talked about how, some things that aren't right in the world for Native people,
Right.
sort of shine a light on that.
Or things
just for a minute.
that should have a light shine on them.
Right, yeah, absolutely. So I kind of talk a little bit, just a little bit, but it's mostly just a comedy. Had a great shoot, had a great crew, worked with some directors of photography for the first time that I've been wanting to work with, Kelsey Yadon and Matt Risico.
There it is.
Matt Risico. Just had a great shoot, and then we did that right about in the summer, so I wanted to ship it off to Tallgrass. So we had our world premiere at Tallgrass, and then we had a screening in LA in San Francisco, and then in LA, and I didn't get to go to San Francisco, but I went to LA at the LA Skins Fest, and we were chosen for the opening night program.
Oh, cool.
At the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences.
Nice.
Which is just amazing. Yeah, it was just sold out crowd. It was just an amazing experience. But they loved it. We got such a great response in that
Sweet.
screening. Yeah. And so then we went to some other festivals, and then then COVID happened, and I was hoping to travel with that for the rest of the year, but that didn't happen.
Right.
But we had such a good response to it, and it had such a kind of a kind heart to it,
Sure.
that I think people were connecting with. I thought, well, maybe there's more to it. Maybe I can
Yeah.
do more with this character.
Like you had another idea.
Yeah. So I decided to make it into a trilogy.
Oh, cool.
At least, So we just made part 2, shot it in the summer in like 110-degree heat. But yeah, a local small crew. We were super safe. But yeah, and that just premiered in LA virtually, and San Francisco virtually. So yeah, we're gonna hopefully get into more festivals this year, and then
You're kind of working out this virtual thing.
And then we'll shoot part 3 hopefully in the spring. I'm hoping to shoot some of it at Cowtown. So like that, we're gonna introduce a villain, and the villain's gonna be a cowboy.
Oh,
so
okay.
I kind of want the big show, Cowboys versus Indians thing. I want to do the big showdown at Cowtown. So I'm still writing that, still working on all that. So that's on the horizon.
Yeah, that sounds really great.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, and then I forgot I made another feature in between all of that. It was called Red Hand,
Oh yeah, Red Hand.
It's about
I should have caught you on that because I
Oh,
have
that's
it on
all right.
the notes right here.
But it's about a guy who time travels, who has the power to heal, who time travels from the future to modern day Wichita to save the Native American race.
Okay.
So that was huge. That was another huge undertaking because it involved animation, it involved special effects. So, but yeah, we had a nice little screening with that too. I mean, a festival tour.
And that was like 2018
It was,
something?
yeah, I think so, yeah. And so we still haven't released that, like, to the public yet, but that's what we're going to do this next year. We're doing some more polish on audio. And
That's
we'll have
the
like
hardest part, I
It
think.
is, yeah. But I love it. I love working with audio.
I do too.
But so, yeah, we'll release that this year online, and then probably, you can order a Blu-ray or anything. The cool thing about when COVID happened and we weren't going to tour with the Brown Indian, I decided to release it online. So I did a YouTube premiere. And so that was a new experience for me. I mean, and another thing, YouTube is a whole different thing. It's a whole job unto itself.
Right.
But yeah, so we had a YouTube premiere, and that was a lot of fun. I mean, promoting that, setting it up, you can all watch it at the same time.
Yeah,
you can all comment. Yeah, you
stuff.
can all comment during it, and so that was a lot of fun. So yeah, so I'm hoping to do that with episode 2, and then with Red Hand, hopefully sometime here in the near future. So yeah, trying to explore those sort of alternative distribution methods.
Yeah, and we're learning a lot right now.
Yeah, we are. I mean, everybody's having to be more resilient, more creative. So yeah,
and care about fellow man and things like that.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of come to the forefront here.
Yeah,
That's
I think
really
so too.
cool.
So yeah, that's kind of my film career, if you will.
Here, IMDb only here at the Catch a Pocket podcast.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm on IMDb. Like I said, you can find my work on YouTube. My website is RadZilla.com, RAWD Zilla.
Yeah, and we'll put the links to all your stuff that you want me to on the notes to the show when it goes out, and you can get those just below the link when you're clicking on listening to our interview. And then on the Catch a Pocket podcast, I always like to ask someone about a story of inspiration. And it can be either something that inspires you, or it can be something that you inspired someone else with, or someone that that you heard two people talk about and you found it inspiring somehow.
Let's see. I mean, like I said earlier, when I was doing my research, I came across Robert Rodriguez's book Rebel Without a Crew, and he wrote about making his first film on a shoestring budget. He subjected himself to scientific experiments to raise money for it. I think he made it for like $7,000, something like that, on film, shooting on film. This is way before digital. So I read that book and just kind of studied it and sort of just like really just thought about it. I mean, so I think for me, that initial inspiration, the spark that got me moving was that book. Yeah.
And how old were you when that happened?
I was maybe 30?
30?
32,
and
somewhere
it kind
around
of
that.
just captivated you and got you moving in the direction that you're coming to now?
Excuse me.
It's okay.
Yeah, it did. That book really did just, get me going. At the end of the book, like I said, in the book, he says, don't just talk about it. I mean, do your research, study, but go for it. And at the end, he said, you make the movie, I'll bring the popcorn. So that really I was like, okay, this is what I needed. So, so for me, that book was my biggest inspiration. And then I read, when I was doing my research, I read a book called Screenwriting Tricks of the Trade by William Frug. And that for me was the book that got me into screenwriting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that you could see the pattern and make it digestible for the public, I guess? Yeah,
I think so. Sid Field's screenwriting book is like, Screenwriting 101 for any film school. I mean, they all read that, and I read that too, but it just didn't connect with me the way the Frug book did. So but those two books were my biggest inspiration. And as far as meeting people, I think at Sundance, just meeting the screenwriting mentors just really inspired me. I mean, like I said, it was a lot of soul searching and a lot of daring soul searching too. Like they made you really like dig in and be revealing, explore your feelings. And, any artist does that. Right. They have to grow as an artist, they sort of have to shine a light on themselves in order to shine a light outward. So yeah, those screenwriting mentors really, really inspired me. And like I said, made it real. It's like, wow, this is someone that's actually really doing this. This is totally possible. You know, that's what made it feel like it could happen. I can do that. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. And they said that too. They said, you can do this. This is perfectly possible. This is something you can do. If you want. Yeah. I mean, because when I got out of high school, like I said, I started out in architecture, which I don't know why. But I mean, back then, kids from Kansas didn't go to film school. It just wasn't an option. Right. Or, I mean, sure, it could have been, but it's not something you think is viable. It's not something you think you can do. Now, it's totally possible. I mean, you don't even have to go to film school. Anybody can make a movie. Right. But it won't be good. Right. You still need that learning, growing experience. Yeah, definitely. But, it helps. But yeah. So,
you never know. They could be great. I'm not saying don't go do a film.
Yeah. No, not at all. Not
do
at
a
all.
film.
Yeah, anybody can make a film.
It might be bad, but do it anyway.
But that's okay. Yeah. That's kind of what people always ask me for advice, and that's always the biggest piece of advice I always give is like, just go for it. Shoot it on your phone, edit it on your phone. I mean, it's perfectly possible, but just and then like, don't be afraid to make mistakes, but absolutely learn from them. Exactly what I did. Yeah. If something doesn't work, then change it. I mean, and the thing about filmmaking is it's really just, I say filmmaking is just problem solving, because nothing is ever, you can be as planned as possible, and you should be, but something is always going to change. You have to always go and change with the flow. But as far as inspirations, those were mine, I think. No, that's it.
Well, thank you so much for coming down, and
thank you.
And I appreciate your time, and keep it up.
All right, thanks.
All right. Okay, as promised, I'd just like to thank Rod for coming on out and being a part of the show. I really appreciate it. It takes a lot to come out here and kind of let yourself be revealed. So we've had a lot going on since last we spoke. And politics, we have a new president starting in 5 days from now, from when I'm recording this right here. And we've had a attempted insurrection or some coup bullshit, which, man, it's still bothering me. I don't know about you guys, but watching that all go down was like slow motion fuckery. I feel like the Trump administration has been everything I worried about for this country the entire time almost. It was hell-bent on pushing us into a civil conflict between one another due to the two sides being completely opposed. And actually, I feel like the one side, the Trump side, completely off the rails with the lies. I mean, if they couldn't get their way, they were going to lie their way. Goodness. And it pushed white supremacists forward the entire time and validated them. They now have guns, and lots of guns, and they feel called to a race war that in their minds is inevitable. I've been watching these programs, and they're going undercover and with these people, and these are real people thinking these real thoughts. Wow. they're trying to keep, and some of them aren't even white, and some aren't even men, they're women, propagating this false narrative that somehow there's superiority in their blood. And it's slowly that mindset is going away, because every time there's a person like Barack Obama who does an exemplary job when faced the same hard circumstances, everything equal, I'm going to do more, harder, with more morality in my little finger than you'll do your job as a white person, because I have to, because I'm under a microscope of bullshit. Every example of a brown and black person or people that prove themselves as victors of one thing or another, because they are just as good, because they are people, and people are people. So get over yourselves. Women are coming up too. We're going to be equal someday as well. I cannot wait until that day. Let's keep up the hard work, everybody. The Catch a Pocket podcast is brought to you by me, because I love you. Thanks, Kirk Runstrom, for the music. It's edited and produced by me. The Podbean app is my host. Thank you, Podbean, for hosting me. I have to pay you, so it's not like you're doing it for free. Listen for this podcast on YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, TuneIn, Apple, Google, and now on Amazon.com. All you have to say is her name in this podcast, and she'll play it for you. Like us, if you would. Share us, if you would. I love y'all, Wichita. See you next time.